The Pacific Ocean covers a third of our planet's surface. It's deeper than Everest is tall. And yet humanity has mapped its floor less thoroughly than the surface of the Moon. We don't know what lives in its darkest corners. We don't know what's making sounds that don't fit any known classification. And we have no idea what's happening in zones where animals refuse to go and ships never come back from. Today, 7 places and phenomena that the Pacific Ocean still hasn't let us explain. Back in 1989, US Navy hydrophones placed on the floor of the Pacific Ocean to track submarine activity picked up a strange signal. At first, operators thought it was some kind of vessel, but marine biologists listened to the recording and realized it was a whale. Except it was singing at 52 hertz. Every other large whale on the planet communicates at 10 to 20 hertz. This one sang twice as high, completely outside the range where whales can hear each other. Biologist William Watkins spent 12 years tracking this signal. Every year the whale showed up in the northern Pacific, traveling thousands of miles from the Aleutian Islands down to California, singing. And not once did any other whale respond. Watkins passed away in 2004, having never seen the animal with his own eyes. Nobody has seen it to this day. We only know it exists because of its voice. Somewhere, right now, a few hundred meters below the surface, this creature is calling out again. And again. Nothing calls back. South of Japan, in the triangle between Miyakojima Island, Guam, and the Philippines, there's a stretch of ocean that doesn't appear on any official navigation warning charts. Sailors call it the Devil's Sea. Over a 5-year stretch in the early 1950s, 9 Japanese vessels vanished here without a trace. The Japanese government sent a research ship to investigate. It disappeared too, along with its entire crew of 31. The main physical explanation involves underwater volcanoes, releasing gases that suddenly change the density of the water. A vessel caught in that kind of zone can lose buoyancy fast, with no warning. But here's what's hard to explain away. Virtually no whales, dolphins, or seabirds are ever spotted in this area. Animals avoid these waters entirely, and they started doing that long before humans started going missing here. In 1997, NOAA hydrophones picked up a sound of extraordinary intensity, so loud that sensors located 5,000 kilometers apart detected it at the same time. Nothing in the known world could produce a signal that powerful. They called it the bloop. Its frequency profile looked biological, meaning it resembled the sound of a living creature. For an animal to generate that kind of acoustic power, it would have to be significantly larger than a blue whale, the biggest creature that has ever lived on Earth. The official explanation, after years of analysis: a massive iceberg fracturing near Antarctica. The Pacific's acoustics carried it halfway across the planet. But some researchers point out that the signal's profile still doesn't perfectly match known iceberg fracture patterns. The case is officially closed. The question isn't. 2,000 kilometers from Hawaii, right in the middle of the Pacific, sits Palmyra Atoll, an uninhabited U.S. nature reserve and one of the most unsettling places in the ocean with a well-documented history. Since its discovery in 1798, there's been a steady record of unexplained disappearances and mysterious incidents around the island. In 1974, the remains of 2 tourists were found there. The circumstances have never been officially determined. Multiple researchers who spent time on Palmyra over the years described the exact same thing: unexplained anxiety, a growing sense that something was off about the space around them, the feeling of being watched. Scientists think it may be caused by infrasound, low-frequency vibrations generated by coral reefs under certain wave conditions. Infrasound below the threshold of human hearing is known to cause exactly these effects: unease, panic, and the sensation of a presence nearby. There's no one on Palmyra to verify the theory. The island has no permanent staff. In the northern Pacific, there's an area covering up to 3 million square kilometers. People call it the seventh continent. It's not solid. It's a suspension of millions of tons of plastic broken down by currents and UV radiation into microscopic particles. The patch is held in place by a circular current and essentially doesn't break up. But here's the part nobody expected. An ecosystem has formed inside it. Species that normally live along coastlines have figured out how to survive in the open ocean by clinging to plastic fragments. Coastal crabs, anemones, mollusks, drifting thousands of miles from any shore, forming communities that simply didn't exist before. Humans accidentally built a new habitat, and life moved in before we even noticed it was happening. Off the coast of Japan's Yonaguni Island, between 5 and 27 meters underwater, sits a massive stone structure. A local diving instructor came across it in 1986. What he found looked like a stepped pyramid. Flat, vertical walls, sharp right angles, level terraces. The whole thing stretches around 250 meters long and 25 meters high. The scientific debate is still wide open. Some geologists say it's entirely natural. Fine-grained sandstone does tend to split along straight plains, and ocean currents can shape clean edges. Others, including Professor Masaki Kimura, who spent 15 years studying the site, argue the opposite. There are grooves and holes in the structure that geology simply can't account for. If it was built by humans, it would have been constructed at least 8,000 years ago, before this section of land went underwater. There's still no official consensus. The site has never been classified as either a natural formation or an archaeological find. Between Hawaii and Mexico, 4 to 6 kilometers below the surface, stretches a fracture zone covering 6 million square kilometers. No light, hundreds of atmospheres of pressure, temperatures near freezing. Life shouldn't be here. In 2023, scientists brought up samples from the seafloor and found over 5,000 species, the vast majority completely new to science. Among them, crustaceans the size of a human hand, when their shallow water relatives never grow past a centimeter. Sponges with hooks that catch prey and slowly absorb them alive. Organisms that don't run on sunlight at all. They feed on chemical energy from the Earth's interior, making them the only life forms on the planet entirely independent of a star. And right now, this zone is being considered for deep-sea mining. 5,000 species we only just discovered could be gone before we ever get the chance to understand them. The Pacific Ocean is the largest place on Earth that we know the least about. It speaks in voices we can't identify. It hides structures we can't classify. It swallows ships in places where nothing should go wrong. And it quietly absorbs everything we throw into it. 70% of the oxygen on this planet comes from the ocean, not forests, the ocean. We breathe it every single day and barely understand it. The Pacific doesn't give up its secrets. It just waits for us to start asking the right questions.